Suppose we want to write a function which takes in a list of ints and then returns a string describing the total number of items within that list. There are a few different ways in which we can write this function. Let's write an implementation of the function and call it description1. It takes in a list of int and returns a string. And here is the implementation. This is more complicated than anything we have seen before, so let's take it step by step. We are using the concatenation operators here, so it joins all of the strings together to produce one final string as the result. We use the length function, which is part of the prelude, to get the length of the list. The length is the number of items in the list. But the length returns an int, and we cannot concatenate a string with an int, so we need to convert the int to a string. And that is exactly what the show function does. It takes the int and converts it to a string. Then all of this is concatenated into a single string. And when we call the function, we get our result like so, as we would expect. Let's implement the same function, but this time using a where clause. Where clauses allow you to divide your function logic into smaller parts. Here is the alternative implementation. Let's go over what is happening here. We use the where keyword to introduce a new block for the function in which we can create bindings that we can then reference in our function body. These bindings are private to the function and cannot be accessed by other functions in your source code file. So in our case, we are creating two variable bindings. The I in length I is short for int, and the s in length s is short for string. Type signatures within the body of the where block are optional, but I have included them here for completeness. The first value, length I, is the result of calling the length function on the argument x. This is exactly the same as the length function being called in description1. The second variable, length s, is the value returned as a result of calling the show function. We pass in the value of length I here because we want it converted from an int to a string. This is again the same as what we did before in description1 by calling the show function. Then finally, in the actual function body, we refer to the variable length s to get our final string which we return. And when we call the function, it works in the exact same way as the previous one. Now this particular example is not too complicated, so it may make more sense to just leave the function definition without the where clause. But occasionally, you will need to define a function which can contain some quite complicated logic, and that's where where clauses can become useful. I've just used this trivial example to illustrate how you can define where clauses and use them within your functions. Before moving on, let's discuss some important points when it comes to writing where clauses and how it relates to whitespace. You always need to place the where keyword on a new line and indent it slightly more than the function name. The convention is that the where keyword should be indented 2 spaces here. If you do not indent the where keyword, you get a parse error indicating you need to fix the whitespace in your code. The body of the where clause needs to be indented slightly more than where the where keyword is indented to. So it is convention to indent the where keyword by 2 spaces and the where clause's body by 4 spaces. Each line in the where clause's body needs to be indented the exact same amount like it is shown in this example. If you do not follow these whitespace rules for indentation, you will get a parse error when you try to compile your code. Thankfully, these rules are quite intuitive and actually make a lot of sense. Just remember, put the where keyword on a new line indented by 2 spaces and the body of the where clause indented by 4 spaces. We will look at where clauses in more depth in a later module. For now, if you need to break up the logic in your function definitions, you can use where clauses as a convenient way of doing so. Another Haskell language feature which is similar to where clauses is known as let expressions. Let expressions allow you to create a new scope for bindings. It consists of 2 parts. Firstly, a list of declarations, and secondly, an expression in which the declarations are in scope and can be used. Let's make this concrete by looking at the same toy example as we did for where clauses. Here we have the same function, description1, which takes in a list of ints and returns a string describing how many items are in the list. Let's implement the same functionality using a let expression which breaks down the intermediate steps of calling the length and show functions. We begin the definition of the let expression by using the let keyword and defining a list of declarations, each separated by a new line. We then end the declarations with the in keyword and a final expression. The expression after the in keyword has access to all of the declarations which we made. We say that description2 equals the let expression. What does that mean exactly? It means it will equal whatever value is present in the expression found after the keyword in the let expression. So if we call the function just like before, the end result is the same. Within a let expression's bindings, you can put type signatures, function bindings, and variable bindings. It is also important to take whitespace into consideration. Technically, your code will compile as long as the lines for the let expression are indented at least one space further than the column containing the function declaration above it. But convention is to make the whole let expression aligned to the same column like we did so here. It is also easier for us to parse with our eyes when it is like this, and so indenting like this is what I would recommend. So you must be thinking, what exactly is the key difference between where clauses and let expressions? Although they are different in syntax, they basically do the same thing, right? They both introduce a private scope where you can declare bindings of functions and variables and use them. The immediate difference, that should be apparent to you, is that whereas for a let expression we declare the bindings first and then the expression afterwards, for a where block it is the other way around. Another important difference is that a where block is a syntactic construct, whereas a let expression is an expression itself. This means a let expression can be placed anywhere a normal expression goes, giving you quite a bit more flexibility when you want to introduce a private scope. So when exactly should we use a where clause or a let expression? A good reason would be to break up complex logic into smaller pieces to aid readability of your code. Rather than putting lots of function calls inline, you can use a where clause or let expression to break it down. Another reason would be to create a new scope to contain function definitions or variable definitions that you would like to remain private. When it comes to choosing which one to use, a let expression or a where clause, it is really just a question of style. Use whichever one you prefer. I personally prefer where clauses, unless I am in a place in the code where it is not possible to put a where clause, in which case I use a let expression instead. This is probably a fine guideline to follow as a beginner. As you become more comfortable, you can amend your style as you see fit. This video is a clip from a longer video for beginners starting with Haskell. Check that out if you would like to see all of the content. Also check out the entire Introduction to Functional Programming with Haskell course on the Learn channel. See you next time.